think I look better with no hat. Let's go.
Okay, here and ready?
Yes, sir. Are we on?
We could be. We're right in that gray area where we might be on, we might be off, but it's finalizing.
Okay.
Okay, we're totally live now. So let's say
We're totally
hello.
live?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, hello, everyone. Hello. It's us. We're back. We're so happy to be back and talking with you all about
We're right
books.
in that gray area. Oops. Where Mike. Sorry, V. Technical difficulties. We're good. We're good. Sorry.
We're good?
We're good.
Okay.
Yes.
We're on.
We're on.
Okay. I've lost half my head, but I feel it's important to be partially in a tiki hut. So you'll just don't worry. It's there. It's just whatever. Okay. Hi. Hi, everyone. It's Virginia. And to my left or right, Chris.
Let's see, where am I? Yeah. Well, I'm to your left on Facebook, apparently. So weird. Hi, everyone. It's Chris coming to you from the Tiki. Missed you all. Hope you're all well.
And it's Lainey. I'm not in a tiki, but I'm in a tiki here.
So funny. Oh God, that's so funny. Yes, we anyway, listen, we are so happy to be back and talking to you from our respective homes. And we first and foremost hope that you are all okay. You and your loved ones are okay. What is there to say except that this is a crazy time? And we hope, of course, for this to right itself, obviously sooner than later. But we're going to do what we do, which is try and communicate with you, certainly more than once a month now. We used to do Facebook Lives once a month. But we are going to use this platform. We're calling it Door to Door. And we're thinking of it as from our doors to your doors, from our respective ports in the storm to yours, to bring you title presentations that we're going to do today, author talks. We talked with Don Winslow the other day, and that was so great. And we have a lot more of that coming down the pike. So, and we want to hear from you. How are you all doing? What's how are you reaching your patrons? We're finding so many different things online, different libraries and what they're doing, ideas that they're coming up with. Of course, almost all of it is digital and virtual. So we would love to hear what you're doing, to share with each other, and anything that you want to sort of talk about. I don't know. I mean, I say this is a strange time, and so there's a lot of things that we could be talking about. Of course, books and authors and how you're all doing, but I don't know if there are, I don't know, a great potion for a good Clorox rag, because you can't find any in stores anymore. I say we put it all out there and share as many real resources with each other as possible. There are the craziest things out there, and some things aren't real and some things are. And I think that we should help each other if we can. So, to that end, we'll post things on Library Love Fest, like things that we've heard about. Don't open your delivery boxes for at least 24 hours, and then put gloves on, and then throw the box out, and then spray everything that's in the box. This is what people are doing. So if you have things like that you want to share with us, do it. So we're all in this together. We'll all get through it together. Please God. But for now, we're going to talk about some books. So here we are, our virtual tiki huts. Who wants to go first, as I like to say? Chris, you raised your hand.
Oh, both hands. That's a different thing. I was just framing it. But I will talk about a book, because why not? And I hope whoever's watching that you had the opportunity to listen to, which way do I need to point? This way? This way. I'm just looking. Yeah, this way. And hear Virginia talk about Monogamy by Sue Miller. That was kind of our first test run of this whole door-to-door enterprise from the mind of Virginia Stanley. And we're really grateful that we can do this. Zoom is taking over the world, but more importantly, it's just great to see your comments, see how you're doing, so on and so forth. But yeah, Sue Miller, monogamy. So again, you probably heard Virginia talk about it. We have we read differently. There is some crossover, and it's always special when that happens, when one, two or three, the whole team reads a book that we all love. And I'm in the midst of this book, and I'm just really taken by it. It's just incredibly smart and passionate, and in ways that you just don't expect. It's not a book that I necessarily expected to resonate so heavily with me. Again, if you didn't get the opportunity to hear Virginia talk about it, that video is on our website, Library Love Fest, so you can check that out. But Sue Miller, this is very much like Barbara Kingsolver and Patchett territory, Elizabeth Strout. And it kind of chronicles the life and ultimate death of a marriage over decades. But it's mostly told from the surviving wife of this man, Graham, who runs a bookstore. He's this larger than life figure. He lives loudly. He loves loudly. He's just a guy who's until suddenly that life, in the course of just one night, unexpectedly is no longer there. And so you follow his wife, Annie, through kind of the stages of grief, her looking back at their relationship. Graham had a son from a previous marriage, and then Annie and Graham have a daughter who are now, both of those children are grown. So you get different perspectives. It's mostly through Annie, but it's the two children as well. You get an introduction to Graham's point of view. But Annie, again, is she wakes up one morning and Graham, this, this larger than life character, is suddenly no more. And she's dealing with that. And I think there's just so many moments in this book that are, thank you, Lainey, that's the jacket that you can all see. There's just moments that are both quiet and yet so incredibly powerful and drawn out, just the way Sue can paint, the picture of a backyard in early morning, and just sitting there and seeing these characters interact and reflect on their relationships. It's just really eloquent and stirring. And it's, I guess, with any form of grief, it's not a linear path. And the way that you see Annie kind of grapple with this back and forth, there's certain things about Graham that come to light that she could never have imagined. It's just so nuanced, and it really just grabs hold of you. I don't know, V, if you want to say anything about it. Yeah, I'm just loving it.
Well, so what I'll say is I was blown away by this book. We used to publish Sue Miller a long time ago, and now she's back at Harper with this book, and it's so exciting. When I first heard about it, I said, "Oh wow, I can't believe we have Sue Miller back. This is really wild." And then reading this book was it's just so I just think that these characters, the people in the story, are so authentic and vulnerable. And the other thing that I think is very telling about the characters in the book, Graham and Annie have this 30-year marriage, but he was married before, and that woman, his ex-wife, is part of their family, part of their tribe. She's in the picture. And it says a lot about both of them. Like when I talked about this book last week, I said it said a lot about Graham. It says more about Annie, the wife, because think about it. I mean, this is his ex-wife and the mother of his firstborn, and they are all together. And so it sounds pretty good until things start to happen, and then these threads get frayed. You know what I mean? And but it's just gorgeous writing. And I don't know, it's just, I can't wait to hear what you all think of it when you pick it up. And I loved when Chris told me he was going to talk about it, because I thought that's very cool that Chris was so taken by it, because we do have very different tastes in reading. The three of us do, but there is that little Venn diagram. And so I thought that's cool. you know, I was very much interested to hear what you thought of it, Chris. So that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really cool. So anyway, I mean, you know, Sue Miller, you know that in her hands, she's a master, and she's just got this down, and it's crushing.
Yeah. Also, Annie's a photographer. I love photography, and those passages are really fascinating to me.
That is so funny that you said that, Chris, because I thought about you when I read those parts, and he would probably get into this, and I can't believe, because we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see if Sue, I mean, again, the power of an author is you can occupy spaces you don't occupy personally in life. But I do wonder if she's a photographer, because the way she writes it is so just genuine, authentic, just really affecting. And just, yeah, seeing Annie kind of, again, grapple, because Graham is just this guy who had this huge orbit, and she feels like maybe their entire life was based on his gravity and his orbit, and she's now finding her own, that she, you know, her part to play was much larger than she maybe gave herself credit to. So
Yeah.
the developments are just great. So
We
sorry,
should just
that's
read the whole
going
book.
on, but
We should
love
read
it.
the book. Just read the
Page
book.
one. Yeah.
All
So,
right. Whoo, hot in here. It is. I don't know why I just said that, but it is hot in here. Okay,
Well, you're
Lainey.
outside, so
What?
you're outside in your tiki hut. There's a lot
Yes.
of sun.
I keep getting sprayed by the water behind me on my head that has no hair.
Well, before I go on to other books, I just want to talk about one that I'm rereading because it's very timely right now. So the new Emma movie is coming out. And so now they've released it where you can watch it online for, I don't even know where, but and so it's my favorite Jane Austen book. So now it's like, I need to reread this. And so I've been kind of going in and out watching other Emma adaptations, and I'm so excited to watch this one. And then, you know, we have a Harper 360 classics that you can download. So I just wanted to shout it out so that anybody who wants to go all in on Emma, they can. And I mean, I don't have to sell Jane Austen to you because who does? But I just love this so much. And it was nice to kind of escape in this crazy world a little to a very friendly world that I enjoyed. And so I can show you this thing. Sorry, going back and forth. I have to remember I show mine too. Okay, so can you see, this is the Emma cover. It's a perennial classic, sorry. And that is, you can do an ebook. So don't even, I mean, a lot of bookstores are closed now. And so it's nice to know what's optioned in our backlist for patrons or people who, even if you're not a librarian listening, you can go check it out. So I won't get much into the story because it's a little old. And then just a reminder that Valentine comes out next week. I'm so excited. So please check that out. You can get it in the world. And yeah, I'll just do my reminders. And then do you want me to go into my first book? Or do you want me to wait?
You?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I just asked the dumbest question in the world. You? No, Eleanor Roosevelt. Of course you.
So I will show you the first book I'm going to talk about. It's called Exciting Times by Nisha Dolan. There it is. So Exciting Times is such a delight to read. I loved it so much. And this is just, I love this cover too, because it kind of just sums up everything going on in this book. 3 toothbrushes, 3 people, and 3 lives. So I've talked about it before, but I wanted to circle back because it just took me by surprise at how much, like how funny and bright and just like really sharp it is. I think that reading it just kind of encompasses the millennial spirit and the thought so well, unlike any other fiction I've read ever. And I know that sounds like only millennials can read it, and that's not what I mean. I just mean, like, I was getting like Lost Generation Hemingway vibes when, in a way that he just captures this spirit of a generation so well, and people who are a little lost and trying to find themselves. And so it's a great way for people who do feel lost to just understand someone's journey a little bit more. So in this book, we have Ava, who moved to Hong Kong from Ireland. She's from Ireland, and she's going to teach English to everyone there, and they're kind of rich children, so they don't really need her. She's more of a tutor, but their parents aren't around. And she quickly strikes up a relationship with an English banker who's living there, Julian, and it turns into a relationship, but he does not want to call it that. He's not there for any labels. But she moves in with him. She kind of takes over this apartment, an apartment that becomes more empty than it is filled. And I think that kind of shows what she's feeling inside. She feels like this empty apartment because she doesn't know who she wants to be. She doesn't know who she wants to be around. And Julian is just kind of a convenience. He's not really in love with her. And so when he goes back to England to do some stuff for the bank, she meets Edith, who is a Hong Kong born lawyer, but she spent time in England. So she meets her, and they quickly start their own relationship. And so they become like this great love story. She starts to feel things and things she never had before, and have, conversations, but she's constantly comparing her to this other relationship with Julian that she just can't get out of in her mind, even though she knows it's not really good for them. But also underneath all of this, because Julian starts to come back and she has to decide what relationship she's going to be in, one that really wants her or one that doesn't because it's convenient. And so under all of this, there's also a very political alertness too, because she's talking about Brexit and Ireland, and within Ireland and England's like political ties to themselves, where they are very prejudiced against each other. And so you get really a glimpse into that as well. But it's blown up in Ireland. Nisha's from Ireland, obviously. And she, she's been on like covers of magazines. She's going to be in Marie Claire. She's going to be covered in Vogue. And in Ireland, it's just kind of like blown up, and it's starting to blow up here. So you're going to hear about it. But a good read alike is Rich and Pretty by Ramona Lam. So you can check that out now. It's out. But like, it's so funny too. Like, it's stuff that I wouldn't expect. I was just caught off guard. So I could talk on and on. Again, I could read you the book, but it's so good. Please check it out. Please check it out. So it comes out in June. So that's Exciting Times by Nisha Dolan.
All right. I love that jacket too.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay. How are we doing on, I was trying to look at comments. So everybody's hearing us and seeing us okay?
Yeah, so many good friends. If you are having any issues, people who are watching, let us know. But right now, just a lot of love, a lot of old friends that we've missed. Just shout outs, Wendy Bartlett,
Yes.
Carla Sudo, Robin Spencer. I know I saw, who else did we have here? I know there are lots of old friends. Let's see. Janet Lockhart's here, Jennifer Winberry, Vicky Nesting, Lillian Dabney, Casey Davis, Catherine Healy. I'm trying to, I won't go through all of them, but all our old friends are here. Scooter McRae, our video studio buddy, Lisa Sharkey.
Catherine Healy.
Yep. We're so happy. Again, if I didn't call anyone out, well, just know you're seen, you're appreciated, and it's good to be back together again. So,
and there were a couple of quotes or people that were saying, Elizabeth Silver says, I just saw a doctor who says we need to wipe things down after coming back from the grocery store. Indeed. And 72 hours, not 24 hours. So anybody getting boxes in, cardboard, that surface stuff, I don't want to turn to this crazy person, but I do, anything I have heard, I want to tell you, and anything you've heard, tell us. Get anything, put it in your garage for a couple days, and then open it, or wear gloves, and then all that business. But anyway, these are things that you can all read. Just things, helpful hints, please. Courtney McGrail wanted to know what the book was that we were talking about. Yes, we were talking about Sue Miller's Monogamy, which is out in September. And Janet Lockhart said the title is Monogamy. Okay, so I think that's it. If anybody just have questions, just let us know. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Gail Tsukiyama. Gail Tsukiyama. This is like, we have big authors coming in with some really cool books, and so excited to have Gail Tsukiyama's book, The Color of Air, under our roof. So this is coming in July, and it is this is a wonderful novel. This, first of all, has been 7 years since Gail Tsukiyama has written a book. And this is, she wrote, Women of Silk and The Samurai's Garden. This is historical novel about a Japanese American family, and it's set against the backdrop of Hawaii's sugar plantations. So when you start reading this book, it's 1935, and you meet this man who's about 50, and he is walking through this plantation where he grew up as a boy with his, are we there? There we go, okay. He grew up there with his parents. And he's looking back on his life there, working in the sugarcane fields, and he's approaching this old cottage where this woman had lived, who he absolutely adored. And so you feel the wetness, you feel this lush sort of, you can smell it. It's the way she has written this book touches every sense. And when I was reading it, I could feel it. I could smell it. It's just, the steam is coming up out of the earth. It's just, she's so amazing. Okay. So, the people who, this man, Koji, who you meet in the beginning, he is awaiting the return of the son of this woman who he adored. Daniel is a young doctor from Chicago, and he's coming back to Hawaii. And he has this was his childhood home. He goes to Hawaii. He's just, he makes everybody proud, and he goes off to Chicago and becomes this doctor. And now he's coming back, and there's a mystery that is buried under the layers of this return. He is not coming to revisit the past as his uncle Koji is, who we meet in the beginning. Koji just lives with the memories of this Daniel, this doctor, his mother, who has passed. Her name was Mariko, and this is the house where everything happened. And so he lives there. He just goes back there. Everything happened there. But Daniel knows that when he comes back, he has demons that he has to sort of shake off, and Koji needs to tell him something about the truth about his mother and his father. Now, all of this is happening with the awakening of this volcano, the Mauna Loa volcano. So this story alternates between past and present, from the day the volcano erupts, it's 1935, to decades prior. And so it interweaves the stories of Daniel, the doctor, Koji, the man who's not left the island, and Mariko. And it is this story of their lives. There's something hidden underneath, and it has to be revealed, what I don't want to say, but it's all circled around the Mauna Loa volcano eruption. So that is the backdrop to The Color of Air. What can I tell you? Historical fiction. People who love Isabel Allende, Lisa C. This is you're gonna love it. It's beautiful. It's about the immigrant experience. It's about how these immigrants came to Hawaii and how they sort of parsed them out into different sections of the plantations where they work, backbreaking work. I mean, you can feel the sweat on their backs. These women who have these babies strapped to their backs, and they're out there and they're hacking away at the cane, and this is what they do. I mean, they came there with a promise for something better, and it wasn't. So you get that whole experience, but then within that, you've got, as they say, these factions of people, Filipinos there, and they're all separated, and it's just this, but it's what they know. It's what their life is. So it's lush, it's beautiful, and it tells a really compelling tale about these three people and how their lives are intertwined. That is all I will say. The Color of Air by Gail Tsukiyama, out in July. So exciting. Who is next?
Okay. It's me. I'm just reloading our Facebook page. I want to make sure everything's going smoothly. It was
Okay.
a little locked up there for a moment. So again, if you're watching and you're hearing me fret over this, put me at ease. Let me know if things are okay. I just want to make sure you're getting all
Yeah.
okay. Seems like we're doing okay.
There's new.
All right. So
historical fiction all day long, says Robin Spencer.
yeah.
Sounds like a must read for me. Good. I'm glad you feel that way. The Color of Air, just added. Good, good, good. Oh, Wendy Bartlett, Goddess. I'm going to post a fabulous video about grocery stuff that I sent to my parents. PSA, safe grocery shopping in COVID pandemic. Everybody Chris, can everybody see these? Can everybody who's watching see these quotes? Yeah, they can, right? These comments?
They can see the comments, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then later on, you guys, you should go to the Wendy Wilson Bartlett's comment where she posts information about grocery stuff. So good. Thank you, Wendy. Very cool. Okay.
Very cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Okay, so speaking of escape is a buzzword now. I think one of the greatest escapes you can take is into a good mystery. And I think one of the best mystery authors that you can read at this moment is Lucy Foley, whose next book, The Guest List, is coming in May. So she previously had written The Hunting Party. I think that was her first book with us. And I remember reading, really taken by it. Just a great take on the Agatha Christie kind of closed room mystery. Set on a cold, kind of icy, I think, island off the coast of the UK. And she continues that with The Guest List. I think, so I was reading this, our colleague with academic, Kim Raycon, who many of you probably know, was reading it at the same time. She's a light speed reader, so she finished it before me. Asked correctly. Also, I'm going to move closer to my router because I'm getting a message here so I'm going to talk and walk at the same time. So Kim Raycon had asked me if I'd guessed the twists, and I asked which twist, because ultimately in this book, there are at least 10 twists that you will likely get wrong. It's about, as you might have guessed, a guest list. It's a wedding party that takes place on this very foreboding atmospheric island off the coast of Ireland. And on this island, again, you basically are getting the viewpoints of all these various people involved with this high profile wedding. You have the bride who runs this kind of like influencer fashion lifestyle magazine. You have the groom, who is this reality TV star. You have the wedding planner, whose family has these long held ties to this island, which was abandoned under mysterious circumstances. Some people say it's cursed. And then you also get some of the viewpoints of the groom's friends. They all went to this very strange kind of boarding school in England, this elite boarding school. They're very tribal when they get together. But again, you're following, and you know right from the beginning of this book that someone has been murdered on this island in the midst of this very high profile wedding. And then you get the viewpoints, and I can't say enough about how good Lucy is at just dropping various hints. It's just you want to guess everything, and you'll get none of it right, but it's still so much fun that you don't mind. So what else can I say? Alex Michaelides, who wrote, oh God, and now I'm failing. What did he write? He wrote The Silent Patient, which continues to sell. New York Times bestselling author. I just want to read his quote because I think it's great and it sums it up. "I didn't think Lucy Foley could top The Hunting Party, but she did. I loved this book. It gave me the same waves of happiness I get from curling up with a classic Christie, a remote atmospheric island, a wedding no one is particularly happy to be a part of." I just have to get out of that. Okay. And then also a wedding party no one is particularly happy to be a part of, old secrets, and a murder. The alternating points of view keep you guessing and guessing wrong. I can't wait for her next book, which is in the pipeline. Very happy about that. it's just she's brilliant, and I'm happy to say I guessed maybe one of the twists right. There was some old connections that I kind of guessed properly, but I was mostly just dead wrong, no pun intended. So really smart, funny, loved it. So highly recommend it. Coming in May. So if you have read it, you still have 4 days to vote for it for library reads, just to mention. Yeah, love it, triple love it. So
I'm gonna chime in on that one too.
yes.
I thought that was so cool. I loved the way she did, each chapter heading was, the groomsmen, and like she sets up everybody who's got something to do with the wedding party, or, all the players. And it's like, and Chris, I didn't guess any of it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. It's oh so satisfying to like all the just rewards. It's just a delicious, twisty, kind of frightening package. So yeah, loved it. So,
She has such a cool way of telling the murder too, because you don't know who dies until the end, which always, it seems so hard to write that. I don't even know how to begin, but
Yeah.
it's so cool.
And there's so many resentments, just like so much underlying like hatred and past like scars and things like that. It's really great. And the way she just weaves them together at the end, like nothing is just by chance, nothing's by it's really good.
Oh, Wendy said they've already got 24 holds on the guest list at Cuyahoga.
oh,
Wow.
sweet.
There we go.
Nice.
I hope if while they're waiting, the hunting party, same format, really, really strong. Love it. Love them both. So, yeah. Thank you, Wendy.
Author's name again, Lucy Foley. Okay, guest list. Okay.
I'll post a link right now.
Okay. Yeah. Jennifer says guest list was off the charts. Love the hunting party. So lots of fans here for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, beauty.
All right. My turn?
Sure, why not?
Okay, so next, I did not mean to pick like Kelly Green book jackets, but apparently I did. So I wanted to talk about The Orchard by David Hopen, and this is one that is blowing me away as well. This cover is so cool with the fire. Okay, sorry, I'm being navigator and I'm doing this, and I've gotta, okay, cool. So this book, The Orchard, it's a debut, another debut, and I can't even tell you how I couldn't put it down. I wanted to keep returning to it. It's a coming of age story about a boy named Ari who grew up in Brooklyn. He went to really Orthodox Jewish school and he's in that community. And so when his parents move him to Florida, he is going to start going to this Jewish academy. And so he's thrown in to a group of adolescents going through the same thing he is, and they're going to high school, and they are just, like wealthy and like they have a lot of ambition, but also they don't really practice faith in the same way that he's used to, or they don't really know as many of the things he does. And so they're very different. And so he's coming from this very intense world into one that really has a lot of the outside world within their religion. And they kind of just go with life's pleasures. They have parties, they go and hang out, they have fake IDs and drink. And so when he's kind of pushed by his mom to get in more with that group and understand them and kind of be a normal kid, where his dad is like, you need to be careful. And so he really sees them push these moral boundaries as they learn stuff. But they also have a really charismatic rabbi that they get to know in the school. And so it really has a lot to do with faith and kind of how you act when people, or how you
and he's
practice. And so, are we good?
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay. So how you practice your faith when no one's looking, and what that means to you. And so within this group, the kind of the golden boy takes him under his wing and includes him in things. And then we have Evan, who is a part of the group, but he just is getting over his mom's death. And so, but he becomes this like radical thinker, and he really pushes the edges of his faith. And so a lot of them are trying to understand what he's seeking when he's doing without his mom. But then I don't know, it's just such a cool like intersection of these kids and him understanding a life in a new place, where, I mean, we all have that experience when we go to new schools or just growing up. Sometimes it's terrible. But this kid is going into something totally unknown to him. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, is because it's someone I can't relate to in a way, where I didn't know much about like his religion or his family or upbringing growing up in Brooklyn, but I could relate to him so much in a way that you're experiencing all these new things and you really have to decide what you believe in. And I tell Virginia it's a coming of age, and that's why I know she would love it, because you love coming of age stories. But it really is mesmerizing. And so you will want to just pick it up, and it's a catalyst for everything that's going on in his life, but it propels you through the read, and it's really beautifully written. This is a great debut. I have a quote from, Susan Choi. In Ari Eden's story, the clash between youth and experience, godlessness and piety, individualism and conformity will feel both devastatingly familiar and utterly new. The orchard throws open the doors to this world and introduces a major new voice. And I think, like, I actually wrote all my notes down, and I think I feel the same way. It's a perfect quote to back up what I was saying. So please check it out. It comes out in November, and it's a special one.
Okay, me?
Mhm.
All right. How are we doing on time? It's 2:45. Just keep going until everybody hangs up. Okay, so this book, Thin Girls by Diana Clark. This is a literary debut that I talked about at the Public Library Association conference, if any of you guys were there. And man, I couldn't believe how many people came to the booth later asking for this book. It's about twin sisters, and it's about diet culture, and so much more. This is about these two young girls, Rose and Lily Winters, and they are, as many twins are, sort of just bonded, and they finish each other's sentences, they taste the same things, they smell the same things, they don't have to be anywhere near each other. They are just so psychically bonded. And their parents are a little wacky. When I read this book, I read it out loud. Because there was something about the voices that I wanted to be with them. I know that sounds so weird. I sound crazy, probably am, but I felt that way. Like I felt reading it, like I just wanted to be with these two people, and their voices were so authentic. And I don't know. I just I read it out loud, and it filled the room. Okay. I am just exposing my crazy right now to you. It's true. But anyway, okay. So what happens is, of course, in high school, they run into trouble, and the pressures of high school have an effect on them. One stops eating, and the other can't. One stops, and the other can't starts. The other starts. One eats, one doesn't. One can't, neither of them have, well, I guess they do have control. They're controlling what they want to do. So we know that, control. So they navigate their body images and diet culture since they were kids. The parents are strange. And Lily is struggling in the real world as they get older. Rose is in one of these an eating disorder facility, and their tactics are questionable. And the only one who visits her is her sister. Tells you something there. And and her other sister Lily is struggling in her world. So we've moved on from school, and now they're adults, and it's awful. So one is in this facility, weird stuff's going on there, and the other sister is in an abusive relationship with this man who ends up sort of affecting her relationship with her sister. But when she starts to sense that there is something going on in this facility, that her sister's life could actually be at risk, she steps in a big way. I don't want to give too much away. So, but there's so much more going on here. I have to read you a couple of things. So there's also a lesbian, a gay vibe to this whole thing. This is a novel for queer people. I'll just read you this descriptive copy, not my copy, but it says, I'll read it the way it's written. This book explores that familiar guilt that comes hand in hand with realizing one's queerness in a world that still glorifies the nuclear family. It's a novel that offers hope for those in queer relationships, and one that allows sexuality to run as an undercurrent rather than being the spotlit aboutness of the book. Whoa. So this is the toxicity of the diet culture of exclusionary feminism. It's about sisters. It's think Hunger by Roxane Gay, or Sarah Gerard's Binary Star meets Dietland. It's, believe it or not, there are such moments of humor in this book, because these girls are not all that. They are navigating this world with their contemporaries, with people who are from different backgrounds, and they're judgy sometimes, and it's very funny. Just a couple of, I need to find this quote, which so Danielle Trussoni has raved about it. Diane Cook has raved about it. Roxane Gay was the author's thesis advisor. And I'm going to read her quote to you, because this pretty much says it all. Diana Clark is a fiercely intelligent writer who wields words like weapons and tells stories of great importance. Thin Girls is a deeply necessary novel, its subject troubling and true, but Clark's wit and humor keep this tale from sinking and instead make it an engrossing, beguiling delight to read. We are witnessing the start of a long, successful career. That is Roxane Gay talking about Thin Girls by Diana Clark. One more thing I want to say. The editor of this book is Terry Carton. Been at HarperCollins for as long as I can remember. She is the editor of Barbara Kingsolver, of Louise Erdrich, just to name a few. I mean, these are, and I talked to her about this book, and I said, where did this come from? And she said, I am absolutely in love with this book. I love the voice of this book, and I do too. So much so that I read it out loud. It's just so unique, because the writing is so honest and so willing to go there. And if Roxane Gay loves it, that's all I need to know. So that's Thin Girls by Diana Clark, on sale June 9th, 2020. Pretty cool. Also, we're not home. We're not in the office. So we will make these available to you as e-galleys. They're available now, right, Lainey? Yes. So
I've shared, and Chris has shared a lot of these. We'll make sure they're all in the chat. And so I just said Orchard and Exciting Times are up, and yeah, so that's, they'll be there.
Download it away, and if you're not whitelisted, let us know.
Oh, Wendy, you said that Thin Girl sounds like a great book club discussion, and I forgot to say that the Orchard's going to have a reading book club guide, so just letting you know.
Good. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, there's a lot to talk about in this thing. And I don't mean to paint a grim picture, because, as I say, and as Roxane says, there's great humor in this. Love me some Roxane Gay. Yeah, Wendy. Okay. How are we doing, everyone?
Good.
Is everybody good?
Everyone good out there? Yeah, good.
Good.
Janet Lockhart, give me one for my baby and one more for the road. Why did you write that? I want to know. One for my baby and one more for the road. Why
Oh,
did you-
maybe because Jennifer said you're good on time. It's 2:45. No one's in the place.
Oh, 2:45. No one in the place except
That'll-
you and me. Got it.
That's probably why she was.
Thank you, lady.
Energy.
Oh God, I miss you guys. I miss you librarians. I miss it all, but I'm so happy we're together. All right. Do we want to do a quick? It's 2:50. Should we each do one more? Do we have time? We have time.
Sure. Why
So
don't you
How
make
many-
it?
ones that I brought, but
Is anybody watching? People are watching, right? 29 people. Yay. It's good.
Yeah. It's
Good.
Solid,
Good,
solid.
good.
all right. I think you guys have one more each. I'll put up the who's going first.
Oh,
Okay. All right, I'll talk about one more, and I'm not sure I've presented this on Facebook before, so it's long overdue. Winter Counts by David Heska Wombley Wyden. Remember in the age of conferences, we used to do that, and we had one called PLA, and they'll be back, not to worry, but it does feel like a long time ago. But I had the pleasure of meeting David at the PLA conference. He also was at ALA Midwinter, so some of you might have met him. He is a Native American author. He's based in Denver, but he writes. This is basically a gritty Native American crime thriller that follows an enforcer, Virgil Wounded Horse. So this is just for some background. There are certain federal restrictions at play. I think it's called the Major Crimes Act, which essentially means that on Native American reservations, whenever there's a felony committed, the federal government has to decide whether or not they're going to actually prosecute that case. So what happens a lot is with, whether it's a violent offender, it could be sexual assault, drug dealing. A lot of what happens is these cases have to be submitted to the federal government, and a lot of times they'll decide to not prosecute. And so, these Native American reservations, their hands are kind of tied, where they'll have these violent offenders walking freely because, again, it just seems to be small peanuts to the federal government. And it's not right. David has written extensively about this through scholarly articles. Again, he's part of the Sikangu Lakota Nation. He's the recipient of PEN America's Writing for Justice Fellowship. So that's all background. But what David is essentially doing here is he's taking that issue and he's writing a novel based on that, where what happens, again, in real life is these Native American reservations will often employ the help of enforcers, which basically employ their own brand of justice to these violent offenders that the federal government decided not to prosecute. So this novel follows one specific one, Virgil Wounded Horse, who is on the Rosebud Indian Reservation in South Dakota. And he's the local enforcer. He's a really nuanced character. This novel is very gritty. There are bones broken. It is brutal at times, but it also is it has a kind of a wicked sense of humor as well. Virgil's very self-aware. He's down on his luck. He knows what he's doing is, it's not a glamorous job, but he feels at least morally justified for doing it. And he realizes that there are hard drugs being funneled onto the reservation. His own nephew, who he's kind of adopted, falls victim to he nearly dies from an OD from some of these drugs. And he takes it upon himself to track kind of this dangerous drug gang that is bringing these drugs onto the reservation. It takes them to Denver, again, where David is actually based. But it's also a look kind of at modern Native life. It's nuanced. You see a lot of the beauty and the community that is a regular part of Native American reservations, but maybe isn't the most publicized part. You see often the drugs, you see the alcoholism, you see the poverty, but there's such a richness to these communities. And I think David just strikes a really nice balance between, again, this gritty crime thriller, but also a kind of a fly in the wall look at a lot of the customs and communities that we just don't often get a honest glimpse at. I did a podcast interview with him at PLA that's up on our website, so you can hear David kind of talk at length about his experience and what inspired this book.
I shared it, Chris.
Thank you, Lainey. but yeah, on its own, it's just a great propulsive thriller, and it's kind of one of the first of its kind. You know, a native author writing a thriller set on a native reservation. So, really, really taken with this book, and I hope you'll check it out. So, I went on really long.
I jump in on this one because I didn't get to the other two.
Yeah, jump away.
This was such a cool story. Like it's very different, but you kind of like keep picking it up. It is very much a thriller. Like you want to know what happens, and like things keep jumping up. Like there's not one big reveal, there's several. And but also you learn so much about, I guess, historically with the government and the reservation, like you were saying. And so like I found that really interesting because I guess I knew about it, but I didn't know about it. And so I think to also see it from the wounded, like, I mean, I just went blank, the character's name.
Virgil Wounded
Horse Race. But Virgil's point of view, like him coming in from a kind of skeptical viewpoint of his culture and how he wants to get back to that as well, I think was a really interesting way to do it. And also David's really nice.
Yes. And now I'm seeing I'm seeing the replay of my talk, and I realize I'm bouncing around like a madman. Sorry about that. I guess the tide was a little rough.
What are you talking about?
Well, I have my computer on my knee right now, and I'm just like, it's all over the place. I got really excited about the book too.
It's our maiden voyage on door to door.
Yeah, we're
okay.
So, yeah.
I'm just reading some quotes, some comments. Jennifer Winberry says reminiscent of bearskin.
Yeah.
Very much. That's a great comparison.
Yeah. And Wendy says, I remember that from Louise Erdrich's Roundhouse. And then Brenda Gaskell says, our church youth have gone on mission trips to the Rosebud Reservation. So let's see. Lynn Constantine. Hi, Lynn Constantine. How are you?
Wow.
Yay. So cool. We have Lynn Constantine.
That's pretty cool. Thanks for joining us, Lynn.
Is that?
I said, thanks for joining us, Lynn.
Joining us. So, well, I want to talk about one very quickly. I thought maybe if we did a round robin, I would talk about Kimberly McCrate's book. So we do this other thing because, there's nothing but time. So now all we're doing is videos. Now we're doing this thing called A Book a Minute. Did you guys see it? Lainey, can you stick it in there or something?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys can check it out later, but we decided we would each buzz a book in a minute. Lainey said, how about got a minute? Like, oh, that's so perfect. Who doesn't have a minute? Now we have lots of them. So we did this and it was really fun, and it just forced us to just boom, boom. And so mine was Kimberly McCrate's book, A Good Marriage, which goes on sale May 5th. So there's still time to vote on Library Reads, which is deadline is April 1st. And my last line of my book a minute was, don't be a fool on April Fool's Day, vote for A Book a Minute. I mean, vote for A Good Marriage. Anyway, what's cool about this book, first of all, it's gotten rave reviews. Big Little Lies meets Presumed Innocent. That's what they're calling it. It's a story about these people who live in very Tony Brooklyn, Park Slope, and it's kind of about people's marriages, and what they project and what's really going on. And so it's very smart. Kimberly McCrate, she wrote Reconstructing Amelia. She did that Outliers series for the young adult. But this has gotten such wonderful quotes. So it's about this woman who is, she's working at this law firm, and she doesn't really want to be there, but she kind of has to be because she used to be this very sort of underpaid federal prosecutor. But now are we still on? We're going, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, that's cool. But she had to leave the job that she loved, but she really wasn't getting paid very much. Now she's working at this hotsy-totsy firm, but she didn't really want to be there, but she had to because the image projected of the marriage was good, but really it wasn't going so well. And her husband was losing jobs because of his drinking. And so now she's doing this job. And she gets a phone call from a guy in Rikers who's been arrested because they think that he's murdered his wife in beautiful Brooklyn. They found her body. And she knows this guy. And she thinks this is like, I can't, I know you, I can't do it. And he's imploring, he's begging her. And so this is the story of that marriage and what really went on there. And what did go on with sort of all these parents these couples that are in this group where their kids are part of this, their little kids are part of this, like a Tony nursery school or something like that, or daycare. And there's a lot going on there. There's possible wife swapping, like crazy stuff's happening here in Brooklyn, and nothing is as it seems. And she just writes this so well. And it's very, I don't know, it's pretty juicy. And she's a great writer. Did you guys read Reconstructing Amelia? It was so good. Anyway, I have like pages of quotes, raves from Lisa Scottolini, Harlan Coben, Jean Kwok. See, who else am I missing? Mary Kubica. Publishers Weekly gave it a starred review. They said, expertly blends domestic drama with a gripping murder mystery filled with credible plot twists and realistically flawed characters. McCrate's page turner presses readers to question everything they think makes a good marriage. This will stay with the reader long after the finish. Harlan Coben. Did I say Harlan Coben? I mean, everybody's just raving about it. And I don't know what else is there to say. Wait, I'm missing Nicole Kidman. So Nicole Kidman loves it. Now Nicole Kidman is optioned this. So, it's going to be great. So a lot of love for that book. So that's coming. That is A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCrate. It goes on sale May 5th. So if you're of the voting kind, there's still time to vote for that one because it's damn good. It's 3:00. Oh, I think it's time.
It's time.
Time for, you know what?
I left my glass.
Go
2 seconds.
get it.
I'm going to
Hurry
get my
up.
glass.
But I hope he doesn't fall into the water.
Oh no. I hope so too. I hope not.
I hope next time my hair shows up because it's super weird, man. Or
At least
maybe
you show up on yours.
I don't know. Look, Lainey and I bought little mini tiki huts. Lainey, hold up your tiki hut. Oh yeah. Hi. Can I rest my glass on there? Sort of. All right.
I think mine
Listen,
would fit.
we grabbed our stuff and ran. So, are we done with our books? Because we'll be back. We're
Yeah.
not going to do this once a month, you guys. We're calling this door to door, and we're going to come from our door to your door, and we're going to do it at least twice during the week, at least twice a week. And so today we just wanted to fill in the hour and say, hey, here we are, we're back. We won't typically stay on so long. Maybe we will, you never know. But I mean, we're going to mix it up. We're going to bring authors in, check out Don Winslow. That was really cool. And we're going to bring more authors to you and more chats, long ones, short ones, and who knows what else. It's going to be a bag of tricks. But what we are going to do is be here. And whether we're coming to you from a tiki hut in Manhattan or our virtual tiki huts right where we are now, we just want to say, stay safe. Look at all those comments on the page about what to do if you just to stay safe, and if you have any thoughts, share them. And because we all want to be well and be back, and keep talking about books, and let us know what your library is doing. I'm very curious to know what libraries are doing to reach their patrons with so many doors shuttered. So that would be very interesting to know.
You can call us. You can call us
Lainey?
and leave us a voicemail. So that's we really like truly, even if it doesn't go on the podcast, because I know in the past we've put it on the podcast, so you can say, I don't want this to go. I just want to leave you a message. That's totally fine. Just let us know how to get a hold of you either way. But just call us, chat. You're home. We're home. Let us know what's going on and what the library is doing, and if we can help you come up with any books to read, let us know. And I'll put the number in the chat.
You put the number in the chat, Lainey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys have, I mean, the book club catalog is there and we'll constantly add to that because that's online. But yeah, to Lainey's point, if we can help you, I don't know, just gather together titles for a certain theme. If you're having an online book club, I mean, I saw some libraries were having like, you know, I don't know, a cocktail hour and they were talking about books. If we can help you, we will. All right. Anything else, you guys?
That's it.
That's it. So here, we're raising a glass to you. I think I'm the only one drinking something of the adult beverage kind.
No, I have wine.
Good for you. I'm drinking Bailey's.
Oh, that's nice.
Just a glass of Tito's.
It is not, is it?
Water.
That's a big glass of Tito's.
Yeah, long day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Shalanta, good health to you all. And we will be back later. Well, what's today? Thursday. We'll be back next week and we'll advertise it again so that you know when to log on. And thank you for being there for us. We're there for you. Keep reading and let us know how we can help you, okay? And take good care now and wash your hands.